comments from citizens. There are two places for citizens' comments tonight. One is now before the legislation and one is after. Just a reminder, this is not a debate with council. This is just an opportunity for you to come up and give us a brief statement. You'll give us your name and address for the record. If you'll put your hand up and let me know you'd like to speak so I can identify you and have you come up.
My name's Deanna King. I live at 99 Manning Street. I had my pit bull taken from me. Not taken, I had to give him up because I couldn't abide by these rules for him. He is now a therapy dog. He was put in the shelter on October the 23rd. 5 days later, he was adopted by a loving family and became a therapy dog. Not all pit bulls are vicious. It's the way in which the owner raises them. We are not Michael Vicks out here. We are loving people that love our animals just like our children, and they are not vicious. And I ask that you take this out. I have a child that is emotionally disturbed, and I had to give her dog up because of this ordinance. She loved this dog, and it has crushed her. And for me to have to take my kid's pet away from her just was not fair. I did not plan on speaking, but I'm very angry over this. I went to court on these dogs. Toby had 15 people in there. And this judge looked at everybody and said, does this dog warden have anything better to do than to bring people in here on these dogs? Literally. I think Toby's just out to...
It's not part of the issue.
Okay, well, I'd like to see the ordinance taken away. I don't think these dogs are vicious. And I just wanted to let people know that, people having dogs given up because of this is just ridiculous. It's not all pets, or a Cocker Spaniel can be vicious. A Chihuahua can be vicious. I'm done.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Anyone else would like to speak?
Thank you, President. My name is Stephen Baldwin. I live at 20924 State Route 31 in Marysville, but I was requested to come by several members of the Newark community to discuss pit bulls and breed-specific legislation. I represent the Animal Cruelty Task Force of Ohio, which is formed as the second humane society in Union County, recognized by law to enforce Title IX of the Ohio Revised Code by appointing county humane agents through ORC 1717.06 to investigate, seize evidence, and file charges of animal cruelty. After running a traditional humane society for 6 years where I was not allowed to adopt out pit bulls regardless of their temperament, and was not requested to focus on field investigation work, I resigned from my position in 2013 to focus solely on this issue and to provide statewide focus, to provide assistance and education anywhere possible and anywhere where we're requested. As a humane society with a sole focus on field investigation work, my organization has expanded its efforts to all of Ohio where services are lacking and our help is requested. Out of the 116 dogs that we rescued in 2014, 80% of them, or 93 of those dogs, fell into your broad bully breed category. These dogs did not voluntarily seek out to be owned and abused by the scum of the earth. They were in fact quite involuntarily subjects of victimization. After I rescued these dogs, I put them into homes where they can be rehabilitated using positive reinforcement techniques that have been proven time and time again to help dogs that have come out of bad situations. Instead of putting them into a traditional shelter environment, which you'll see in animal control traditionally, 91 of those pit bulls, or 98% of them, were successfully rehabilitated and adopted into loving families. One of them was euthanized because it had severe cancer problems. We removed the tumors. They grew back aggressively. One of them was euthanized for behavior reasons that we felt made it dangerous to go out into the community. Mark Twain says there's 3 types of lies in the world. Lies, damn lies, and statistics. And no matter what issue we're talking about, no matter what contentious issue we're talking about, you're going to hear all three of them. And I'm not here to throw more at you. What causes an issue like this to be so contentious? Why are some of us so strongly on one side and others of us so strongly on the other side? Is one group evil, bad, plain, wrong, or stupid? Or are perspectives shaped by our experiences? And are they then reinforced by accepting information that only coincides with our own perspective? My perspective is not that of an activist, although many of my friends are activists. My perspective, and the reason why I'm dressed the way I'm dressed today, is that of a county humane agent and a shelter director. Unlike your animal control officer or your dog warden, your humane agent is the officer that is out there to protect the animals and to investigate animal cruelty and to find out why these animals are acting the way they're acting and being treated the way they're being treated. We take animals out of the worst situations possible, and time again, we transform them and create better dogs that are safe for the community. And the reason that we're able to do that is because dogs live in the environment. I'm going a little bit off topic here, but dogs live in the environment that they're placed in. And the wrong kinds of people can get the right types of dog and do whatever they want to them. And legislation that focuses only on those dogs rather than the individuals is not going to do what you guys want to do, which is create a safer community. And I know that that is your ultimate goal, and that's my ultimate goal as a humane agent, is to create a safer community. There are better ways to do that. I've been the one that's made the call to euthanize dogs. I've held them personally as a shelter director, and I've apologized to them for what their owners have created and turned them into. I understand the responsibility that you have as city council members, and I also understand why these dogs end up the way they end up. I can give you the Michael Vick fighting dog stories and tell you how they've been rehabilitated and turned into therapy dogs. And I can talk to you about dog behavior and genetics and their mental and physical needs until I'm blue in the face, but I won't. What I will do, though, is I will ask you to look at 3 policies and 3 models of non-breed specific dangerous dog ordinances. They focus on responsible ownership, on accountability, and on creating a safer community, which is, I believe, your intended purpose for this legislation. And if that is your intended purpose, I strongly urge you to take a close look at these specific models. These aren't from activist groups. These are from the AVMA, the American Veterinary Medical Association, the APD, the Association of Pet Dog Trainers, which is the premier dog training group for professionals. These aren't from activist groups. These are from verified groups that know what they're talking about, and they know about dogs. Utah has recently become the 14th state to ban this sort of legislation statewide. Other states are following. We know that this doesn't work. I don't envy your position at all. I appreciate the fact that you're taking it seriously and that you're considering all the options. I think it's clear that the community is requesting that you look at this seriously, and I hope that you will look at these models and consider them as more effective means to actually getting what you want accomplished here as a community, which is a safer community with responsible dogs. Thank you very much for your time, and if you have any questions, either now or after, I will be open to you. Thank you.
My name is Lori Carlson, and I'm the Executive Director of the Licking County Humane Society, and also a pit bull owner, by the way. I want to just take
Give me your address, ma'am.
Oh, sure. It's not the shelter address is
Your address.
973 Nadine Drive, Heath, Ohio.
Thank you.
I will be very brief. I can only echo what Stefan just shared. At the Humane Society, in the last 4 years, we have placed 93 pit bulls or bully breeds for adoption, all very successfully, none of whom have subsequently injured or hurt any of their owners. I would like to extend an invitation to any of the council members to come down to the Humane Society, spend some time at the shelter, visit with some of our pit bulls if you haven't been exposed to pit bulls, and we'll be happy to show you the work that we're doing in the community, which I think will then help with your decision. We at the Humane Society obviously support doing away with the BSL legislation because you have wonderful, wonderful families in this community who want to adopt pit bulls that we have not been able to place with, good pet owners, responsible people, and I would encourage you to open this community up a little bit to the animals that are in need in this community with smart decision making. Obviously, we're very cautious about who we place pit bulls with or bully breeds. We do require background checks, we do require reference checks, and we do require veterinarian checks. So we can certainly share what model we've used to make sure that pit bulls are being placed into responsible families. Thank you.
Thank you.
I wasn't going to because they covered it really well, and this is going to hurt some of your sensibilities, but I think it needs to be done.
Do you want to just hand those to Ms. Holm and pass them around?
No, I'm going to leave them on the table.
Okay.
Rhonda Loomis, 870 West Church Street. While the pictures I've put on the table may hurt your sensibilities, they most assuredly do mine. I wanted you to know that what is before you is deed, not breed. Each of these pictures represents a bite from a lab, a Jack Russell, a Husky, and a Doberman. None labeled vicious prior to this. Would a law or piece of legislation labeling them stop this from happening? Does it seem the discretionary power of the ACO to label a dog a pit stop dog bites? This has been made more obvious since the local paper has found 3 stories to print showing the BSL at work. What is alarming is the fact that these pits, as reported by the advocate, are being turned back over to the negligent dog owner for self-monitored quarantine. I find that a safety issue, and that is what you are here for, the safety of Newark. If your replies to this well-organized group of people is true, it is time to work on real legislation for making those who own the dog that has bitten someone begin the court and fining process. During the last safety committee meeting, the closing statement from Ms. Floyd was that council would not be discussing the resolution to appeal the BSL from the Newark's codified ordinances. With respect, they are all here because it is on the agenda. It is on first read. Of course, that's all changed since then. And in the background, you may be receiving an email from a committee member still presenting reasons to not repeal the BSL. The discussion, whether in public or not, is still going on. While in court last Thursday for another personal matter, in fact a failure to confine a dog case that hits home for me, and by the way, not one person in this room believes that that person should not be in jail. He should be and should remain so for a time. There waiting in the hallway was Allie. She may be here somewhere, wearing her Ban the BSL shirt. She was second up after a domestic violence. And as tough as she wanted to seem, there she was with a misdemeanor, shaking, the judge saying, "Do you understand that you have been cited under Newark's codified ordinance 618.22, exotic and restricted animals?" At that point, I thought I can definitely see where the confusion would come in with the charges read. She attempted to explain her situation, to which he said, and I paraphrase, "I'm not an attorney, guilty or not guilty, and done. See the clerk, pay the fine." She wasn't belligerent or incensed she was there. She is trying to pay fines, do all the other things necessary to bring her dog into compliance. It is costly, and this young girl cannot simply pull out her wallet and pay these mounting bills. If you say, then get another type dog, well, she has this dog. She loves her dog. And now she's trying to pay for the discrimination against her dog's breeds. Folks who don't know the law in pit cases until the ACO shows up. The timing given to comply is discretionary, and as you heard at committee, no real set date, no time frame that is set in stone. Fines compound and court dates build and financial hardship occurs. By the time you have tried to understand and comply, you owe a lot of money, and your record has at minimum a misdemeanor. To you, Mr. Rath, you have done the most unpopular thing in the realm of politics. You listened to the voices of the people that packed this room on a very unpopular topic. You are fighting against an old mindset. Your party, the other party, the newspaper, but you are a champion in the eyes of these common folk with their cry for justice, for change to a discriminating law. Sir, I admire the fact that you are doing exactly what you were elected to do. We have heard no other voices against repealing the BSL publicly. The stories of dog bites are vague, no names or pictures of the dogs, words like alleged and looked like a pit. This room of activists supports you for supporting them because you are showing the difference between a civil servant and a politician. To the rest, repeal the outdated BSL as the state of Ohio did 3 years ago. Make this a crime of deed, not profiling citizens based on the appearance of their dog. Blame the owner, not the dog. Thank you.
My name is Rachel Wade from 490 Essex Downs Road, Newark, Ohio, and I'm here today because we've recently been learning about federalism in our government class at CTEC, and last week my teacher used Newark's controversial pit bull law as an example of local government in action. My class was really touched and interested in learning what we could do to change this law. And there was a general consensus in our class that this should not discriminate against pit bulls, but should apply to specific dogs with a history of aggression. I personally was impacted by the current law because my family wanted to adopt a pit bull last year, but couldn't because of the extensive insurance requirements. I am not yet old enough to vote. However, I hope that the council will consider the opinion of the youth in Newark and vote to change this unfair law. Thank you.
Thank you. Very nice job.
Sorry, I had to write this down.
Okay.
My name is Andrea Langley, 1871 Cedar Circle. I am not a pit bull owner. I do stand up for what is right in the face of what is wrong. Now I'm going to start crying. Sorry.
Just take your time.
I'm a registered voter in Licking County. Let's consider what is before us. Civil liberties are being compromised. Animal rights are being violated. In my opinion, the current ordinance treats all owners of pit bulls as criminals, finding them guilty of having a vicious dog when their dog has shown no aggressive behavior. Sorry, this is just very upsetting.
I'm doing fine.
Having a boxy head is not evidence of an aggressive dog. It targets those without the income to comply with the laundry list of requirements with this ordinance. When they cannot financially comply, their pit bull is confiscated and placed in the Licking County Animal Shelter. I use the term shelter loosely. A shelter should be a safe haven for those confiscated, forgotten, neglected dogs who are waiting for their owners to claim them, or for a new family to offer the home they deserve. Who pays the price when these adoptable dogs are not claimed by their owners? The pit bulls pay the price. Innocent dogs are dying. That's the collateral damage related to this ordinance. Once they're at the pound, they're housed in isolation. No playtime, no toys, no walks, no human interaction. Volunteers are denied access to these dogs. They are fed once a day. Rescue groups cannot pull these dogs. They are not put up for public adoption. We are talking about perfectly adoptable dogs whose only crime is being deemed a pit bull by your animal control officer, which, by the way, is his subjective assessment in assigning a breed. On day 3, the perfectly adoptable pit bull is killed. I'm sorry. I created a Change.org petition in August of 2014, which to date has 2,893 signatures in favor of stopping the killing of innocent pit bulls at our pound. I would be happy to forward this link to the petition to each of you. The public does not agree with this practice, and this practice is the direct result of a flawed breed-specific ordinance in the city of Newark. Breed bans punish responsible dog owners and innocent dogs. The graph you were presented a couple of weeks ago showed a flat line of pit bull bites from 2000 to 2014 in comparison to the highly peaked and valleyed numbers for all other breeds. That's 901 bites attributed to all other breeds, 26 to pit bulls from 2000 to 2014. The graph was created using the Licking County Health Department bite statistics, the same stats the Newark Advocate would have you believe they used in a recent article, but clearly they did not. Licking County does have a dog bite problem, and that problem is not related to pit bulls. If you polled Mr. Average Newark citizen and posed the question, would you rather determine a dog's viciousness based on individual actions or their breed, the overwhelming response, I imagine, would be to base it on their action. That's common sense. I ask for a vote of yes to repeal the current BSL ordinance. Innocent pit bull lives are depending on it.
Thank you, ma'am.
My name is Rita Hupp. I live at 1521 Mallard Circle West in Newark. Wasn't really planning on speaking tonight. I have a lot of people that I work with at the post office that would totally disagree with me. I am a dog owner, dog lover. I have huskies. I do not have a pit bull. But I am here. I'm not completely emotionally attached to this in any way. You know, I've been perusing things. I think it's unfair. It is not a breed problem. It is an owner problem. I encounter different breeds every day. I have encountered dogs in every end of this town, and it is not a breed problem. It is an owner problem. It is a problem with no follow-ups. When we have lots of issues with dogs. We have no follow-up from the city, from the dog warden. We don't know if owners have been spoken to, have been cited, if their dogs were out. If there is an incident, we have no follow-up with the owners. The post office is on their own. If we have another problem with the dog, we have to force people to move their mailboxes. We have to force them to get a P.O. box because we don't get any help from the city. And, I mean, the biggest thing to me is that it's not the breeds, it's the owners and repeat offenders. And every breed has a tendency to bite. My worst dog bite, I've been bitten twice. One was by a protective lab mother early on in my career. Startled her. She had a batch of puppies on the porch. She was protecting her puppies. The one bite, and they're euthanized, should not apply to a dog like that. My worst bite was a beagle. Flew out a door through the screen behind me, caught the back of my leg. I had all 4 puncture marks in the back of my leg. The dog was not euthanized. The gentleman got a P.O. box, so we didn't walk through her yard anymore. End of problem. And I guess that's all I have to say. I believe I had a letter written that was read to the safety committee that should be on record also. So, thank you.
Thank you. Just to explain to the group out here, if we'd had 6 votes, we would waive the 2-day reading rule. Mr. Raff is going to ask we either vote on it tonight or he would ask to table it. We didn't get enough votes, so it will be read for the second reading, which will be in 2 weeks. Next on the agenda, we have our second opportunity for comments from citizens. Again, the same rules apply. Would anyone like to speak? Please raise your hand so I know you'd like to speak, and I'll point it at you here in just a second. Yes, Mrs.
Hi, I'm Rhonda Barber, 917 Glenmore Avenue. And actually, I'm as speechless right now as I was watching the Super Bowl in the last 2 minutes yesterday. So I just...
You're a Seattle fan.
I'm looking around at a room of people, and shame on all of you guys that aren't supporting Mr. Raff, who's trying to do the will of the people. And so I didn't hear anybody stand up here to continue this ban, but I see a whole bunch of people that want you to ban this, and you totally, I don't know what about this table and stuff. It didn't sound right, but it didn't go his way. And so I guess you've just pretty much said forget all of us voters that are sitting here.
That's not necessarily the way it went.
Okay, explain it to me.
Just got tabled we just read it for the first time. Usually it's voted on the second reading. Mr. Rath was asking to waive the 2-day reading rule so that he could make a motion to table it because Mr. Blake is not going to be here in 2 weeks and he wanted the full council to vote on it. Didn't get enough votes to do that, so it'll be read again in 2 weeks and voted on that.
Okay, so what do these people have to do to change your mind? Because again, I haven't seen anybody stand here and say, I'm for this ban. Do they need to double the number of people here? Do they need to get a petition? They need to bring their dogs? I mean, I've heard experts saying, you know, are you making an educated decision, actually is what I'm concerned about? Or are class issues coming in when you guys are looking at some of the people that are for pit bulls and you're looking down on them? I'm really, really concerned. And so, I vote, I blog.
Thank you, Mr. Barber.
Good evening, council members. My name is Tammy Nortman, and no, I am not from Newark. I am from Dayton, Ohio. I know that seems to be a problem with some people lately. However, I am an attorney in the state of Ohio, and therefore I travel at will. So to represent people's interests, such as the dog owners that are here this evening. I know we discussed it before when I was here last, but I do want to reiterate the due process problems that we have in this city. And since we've discussed finances this evening and you've discussed cost, I just want to let you know that there's two ways that it can be approached with this due process problem. One is that your animal control officer starts bringing dog owners in and these pit bulls in for hearings. Okay, so now you have to have special hearings. Now you have to pay overtime for your animal control officer to come in and testify. When you have a hearing, it's a rebuttable presumption that this dog is a pit bull. So guess what the other side's going to do? We're going to bring in experts. And we're going to bring in experts to tell you that the dog's not a pit bull. Because there's no such thing. So I think we can talk about breed identification. I can provide you with an affidavit from a geneticist who actually has worked on dog genes from the university, I think, Wisconsin, is Dr. Azari. I don't know if you know Dr. Azari, but he actually filed it in a court case in Florida. I can also provide you with studies from veterinarians who have done multiple studies, scientists who've done studies on breed identification, visual breed identification. I'm happy to provide all of those to you so that you can take a look at them. The second way that the due process goes is that your animal control officer and the city council continue to ignore the due process rights of their citizens, and in that case, your city gets sued. And it gets sued under 1983 action, and that costs the city money as well. So in reality, simply taking out this very tiny little portion of this ordinance, taking out the breed discrimination language that we have currently in Newark, is easy and it's cost effective. And I think that's on top of the safety issues that you all, I know, are very concerned about. It's also the finances of your city. You have a brand new fire chief I saw tonight, and I'm sure that he would love to spend some of that money that would get spent on dog cases on his new fire department. So thank you guys very much. And like I said, if you need any information, I can pass it to Mr. Rath, and he can get it to you.
Yeah, if you want to send it to Mr. Rath or send it to me, I'll make sure it gets to anybody.
Okay.
If you have any you'd like to send us.
I will do that. Thank you.
Anyone else this evening?
June Ryan, 162 James Street. I have a dog, and it's a schnoodle, schnauzer poodle, little guy. I used to be scared to death of pit bulls only because of what I heard, you know. Never really knew one. And then I have a real good friend that we made best friends with, and she has a pit bull. Beautiful dog. All it does is lick me. Her name's Sadie. She's on TV. I just want to let you know, just fantastic dog. Good dog, you know. Thank you.
Do we have any comments from the administration this evening?